Trial. You're pretty ready to go along with having that trial.
We'll start with roll call.
Brumman.
Here.
Brady.
Here.
Knut.
Here.
Gothier.
Here.
Johnson will be present.
Yes. I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes from June 17th, regular meeting, and the special meeting on June 24th.
I would like to make the motion approving June 17th, June 19th, June 24th, and June 26th, and June 29th.
I'll second that.
With appreciation to the clerk for having handled all of those.
I'll second that too.
Want to take over, Chairman?
A vote first. Do you have a vote?
Yeah, well, yes.
Didn't get to discussion yet.
Let's approve the minutes.
All right, any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Everything else taken care of. Okay, public comment, 3 minutes per person. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Carla Brem. I'm Mitchell Township Supervisor.
Carla?
I had some concerns about the pop-up pantry, and the process on which they've been working. And I guess the best thing for me to do would be start at the beginning, which on May 15th, I received an email from the director of ACCOA about the program. And it told about commitment, location, pickup times, quite an extensive email. I got in touch with a few board members. I had to take this off. I got in touch with a few board members and to make sure that everybody was on board with this. And so I replied back that night or the next morning, right away, that we were interested in doing it, gave them the location of the Mitchell Township Hall. I received confirmation back. We went back and forth a couple times. I was given the date, June 1st was the first date. Then I got an email back a couple days later that said the first drop would be June 5th. And more information to come. Since then, I had not received another email. So it got to be June 3rd, and I sent an email saying, you know, where are we with this? Everything on track? And I'd never received another email, but I got a call back from one of the staff members saying that she put Mitchell, Curtis, and Millen Township all in with Lot Church. And I told her that was unacceptable. First of all, I had this. On Friday, she told me, well, I don't know anything about an email. Well, I said, here's the email. So I pushed back, and I know I probably got pretty loud because I was pretty ticked off. How in a day and a half am I gonna let our people know that they have to go, some of them 40 miles to Lot Church to get a food box. And I was pretty upset about it. But she ended up calling me back and said that we would get some food boxes. She didn't know how many because there was a shortage. I understand shortages, can't do anything about that. But we had to go pick our own up because they didn't have anybody to deliver them, or she wasn't sure she would have anybody. So Paula and I each took our trucks and got our load on Friday and took it ourselves. So while I was there, I had asked, the director was there, and I said, next week, are we going to get our delivery? Is it going to be delivered as it said it was? And he says, oh yeah, next week will be all right. We only found out about you 2 days ago. And I'm like, that wasn't 2 days ago. That was May 15th that I got his letter, and we responded a couple times. So I was pretty upset that he didn't acknowledge that there was, I don't know, intentionally put us aside, or if it was somebody's goof, I don't know, but I thought somebody should have taken responsibility, and I think we need to have better communication going forward. Because if you read the Alcona News, where, I mean, it mentions in this email how they're going to use local media, Mitchell Township was never mentioned. In fact, in the first couple, lot of church was never mentioned. It was put out as United Methodist Church, which they never had the food drop there. So anyway, that's my concern. I could go on and on for a long time, but I won't. I kind of condensed it down that I think communication's important. It talks a lot about how our departments run and their follow through. Like for now, the paper said that this is running through the end of June. My email said December 31st. I have no idea. No email, no correspondence from leadership saying what's going on. I get a phone call a half an hour before they're gonna be at the hall to get this, the food there. So I have to get our, all our volunteers, I have to call them up, and then by the time I get a hold of everybody, they've got like 10 or 15 minutes to get there. So I think we need to maybe do some checking on how they communicate.
So have you been able
I
to
haven't sent another email because I send emails, never got a response, so
but you did talk with the director in the last week or two when you picked up?
the first week we picked up,
Okay.
not talked to him since.
So you-
Everything's going through Debbie.
Have you gotten a delivery to Mitchell Township yet, or?
Yes, we've gotten three deliveries to all at different times. The first time it came like 3 o'clock was perfect. The second time we got a call like 12:30.
So the delivery point's fixed, but now you just want to know, we need a little better idea when you're coming, if we
A
could.
little more than a half an hour. I mean, like when they start loading the trailer, not when he's pulling out of the driveway.
Craig, I'm
Maybe
on the
that's-
call.
I-
I can easily address, at any time, you can pick up the phone and call our office. I know the commissioner's business is the county business, but I mean, this is very specifically to Alcona County Commission on Aging. And we would be happy to sit down with you at any time to discuss this matter. We are always open. So, but I don't want to talk about this in this open format because, we will be happy to disseminate the emails to the commissioners and they can read it themselves, the emails that you're referring to. But you are welcome. You can come bring a mask right now. You're in town. You can drive right now.
Are you here for a
And
while?
come talk
You
to
want
us.
to stop there on the way back? Just a second, Lenny.
You know that we don't have any control over that.
I
Well.
just know that
Okay.
he reports in here, and I had to say something to somebody.
All right.
And that's fine.
I emailed there, and what I got when I was out at in person with him was,
So let's do this. Instead of continuing in this public comment section, why don't you stop at Lenny? Lenny, you still there?
Yes, I am still here.
All right. So we want to set up an appointment with Carla here, an
we can
hour,
go over right now. If
within
we-
within a half hour?
That would be fine.
Really.
That would be
Okay.
fine. We'd be happy to sit down with her and go over her
Yep.
concerns.
Yep. Sounds like just a little bit of communications that we're not getting through, but I think we can work it out.
I believe
good?
so.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, she's on her way. All righty,
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It was nice seeing y'all.
nice seeing you. Is it hot out there? And I bet you it is, isn't it? Yeah.
It's getting hotter.
Uh-huh. Well, go down by the lake once and enjoy the coolness. And
Yeah. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
You too, thanks.
Boy, if we could resolve all the issues like that, that'd be great. Just send people off. Any other
First
public
and
comment?
First and foremost, I'd
Lenny.
like to apologize. That is an issue for the Commission on Aging, and I apologize to the commissioners because you guys, should not be brought into something. If that was a complaint for us, by all means, talk to us and we'll work it out. So I apologize for wasting the commissioner's time on this matter.
Not a problem, Lenny. It was public comment, so not a big deal. Second, any other public comment? All right, so presentations.
I have a, I'm calling in. My name is Kelly Wazakowski. Sorry, I would like to speak on public comment. I am the Census Project Coordinator with NEMSCA. So I've been kind of organizing for education and outreach for the 2020 census. And I just wanted to give a brief update for the commissioners.
Okay.
The state of Michigan is doing really well overall. We're at about 68% self-response rate for the census. So about two out of every 3 households have responded to the census within our state. And here in Northeast Michigan, we have some more unique needs. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a snapshot of Alcona County. So our current self-response rate in Alcona County is around 36.5. So we've got about 1 in every 3 households have responded to the census. But in the final 2010 self-response rate was right around 40%. So we're just about 4 percentage points away from surpassing the final 2010 self-response rate, which is really good considering the pandemic happened right around the time that census invitations were first sent out. And then in Alcona County, we have a couple unique situations. So the first one is update leave, which is that kind of applied to people who have a post office box or a little bit of a more non-traditional street address. And so it was about, so if I can break this down, the western half of the county, about 40% of households in the western half of the county. So in places kind of encompassing Mitchell, Curtis, Millen, Hawes, Barton City, Curran, and Glenny would be the larger communities there. About 40% of them had just received their invitation to complete the census recently because they fell under that update leave category. And additionally, we also have kind of a challenge in Alcona County to counting people who have second homes. So even if they weren't residing at their second home on April 1st, or even if they don't live there 50% of the time, they're still supposed to respond to the census and say that 0 people lived at that residence. So that's a really good kind of distinction to be sharing among your networks. And if you know people who have second homes, to make sure that they have responded to the census. And so the census, the 2020 census at the national level had responded to the pandemic and kind of postponed a lot of the in the field operations. And so the non-response follow-up, which is where census enumerators are going to be visiting households and collecting their census information that way, that's going to be starting on August 11th now. And so we want to kind of remind people that the best way to necessarily avoid someone coming to your home is to respond before, and they can respond either over the internet, over the phone, or online. And I can share those that information after the meeting too. I can share the hotline and the website information as well. But if anyone has any other questions for me, I am happy to answer. Otherwise, feel free to contact me as well after the meeting if you have any other ideas or ways to promote the census in Alcona County.
You get her last name again, I'm sorry.
What was your last name again?
It's Wazakowski.
Could you spell it,
Our-
please?
Yeah, it's Wazikowski.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions about, I mean, Carolyn, you've been working on that census and reading those numbers and,
We really haven't done actively a lot because of the COVID.
Right.
It's just so,
I know there was lots of big plans.
Well, I know Carla, she was just here, but she was also trying to do stuff, and I've talked with Lauren. And I finally filled out mine, even though I'm not gonna get it in the mail, because I live in a place where we get mail by post office box.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none. Presentations. Francis, I see you up
Good
there.
morning. I'm here.
Morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Doing well.
Good.
How
I'm
are you?
excited to be here, even though it's digitally the first time, but I appreciate you allowing me to do our 2019 annual report presentation. I was looking through my notes. This is the 4th year I've had the pleasure of presenting our annual report for our community action agency. That's pretty exciting. So let me just start with a reminder or refresher about who I am. My name is Frances Whitney. I do outreach and communication for NEMSCA, which is Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency. We are the largest community action agency in the state of Michigan as far as geographically, 1 out of 29. And there are multiple community action agencies throughout the country, of course. Community action agencies were created back in the mid-60s, and of course, NEMSCA started in Alpena in 1968. So for over 50 years, we've been providing programs to people in need in our area. Our programs touch into 11 core county areas, which of course, Alcona County being one of our core county areas, but we actually do touch into 22 counties, all the way as far east as the thumb, as far west as the Big Rapids area. So we have such a large area. Today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what we've been doing in Northeast Michigan for fiscal year 2019. But before I go any further, I want to make sure, did everybody get the annual report that I emailed out for the commissioners?
I did
No?
not.
yes, you
I
Okay.
did. I did.
She did.
Okay, do I have, I'm gonna try to share my screen to see. Oh, no, it won't let me share my screen. There's somebody that's the monitor on this that can give me the permission to share my screen or no?
John, can you hear that?
If not, I'll just wing it. No big deal.
He'll shoot you a chat message if he can do it.
Okay, perfect. Well, then I guess we'll just have to continue on. I wish that everybody had the annual report in front of them, but that's okay. That's how this pandemic
We will.
is. We have to be flexible with what we're presenting and how we do it. It's been pretty amazing.
So we do
one of
have the report.
You do have the report. Awesome. Very cool. So you'll notice on the first page, of course, it talks a little bit about us, which I just went through, and you'll see the message from Lisa Bowen, our executive director, that talks about things that have been going on in our area. You'll see also the list of the board of directors, and we want to just do a shout out for Commissioner Gothier. That's a really good representative on our NEMSCA board. We appreciate the input that he provides to represent Alcona County. And then the next page you'll go through, it looks like there's the financials. One of the things I always like to highlight when I'm presenting is that we have a pretty significant budget, as you are well aware by looking at the financials. Over $50 million as an operating budget for year to year. But one of the things that we're very proud of as an agency is you'll notice down at the bottom that 94% of our funding goes back to programs in our communities, which means it's a 6% overhead. That's very significant because the typical nonprofit usually operates with a 15 to 40% admin cost. So basically that means is that 94% goes back in the community. And that's something we've been very proud of as an agency to be able to say that. When you look at the services provided for the numbers, you'll notice that we have a significant amount of numbers that are of people that are being impacted by our programs. So just as a brief highlight, a reminder, because we have so many programs that by far, usually when people associate and think about NEMSCA, the one program they think of is, of course, our Head Start preschool program. Our early childhood services program makes up more than half of our agency. So that's basically our largest programs that we offer. And you'll see that almost 3,000 children received early childhood services in our area. But as you're also aware, we're so much more than that also. We provide housing assistance for people that are homeless. We provide food boxes for people that are hungry. We have our school success program that acts as that support system for our at-risk youth from kindergarten all the way up through, in some counties, adult education. We also provide weatherization. We provide a lot of different programs for people that are in need. And then the other thing that makes us very unique as a community action agency is that we also are declared the Region Area Agency on Aging in our area, which means that the funding comes to us and then we partner with our local senior centers and area agency on aging. And shout out to Lenny, nice to see you, to help assist and provide programs to our senior citizens in the area as well, such as Meals on Wheels and things like that. So you'll see that we definitely are a cradle to grave organization and provide many, many programs to empower people in our communities to eventually become self-sufficient, because that's what we're all about. If you know me, you know I'm a quote dork. And one of the things that I like to say is these numbers are very important to present to our community partners, county commissioners, our legislators, and just our public at large. And it's important to have those statistics on hand. But as I always like to say, a good statistic didn't cause that march on Washington, right? It's usually a good story. And you'll notice in the annual report, when I put it together this year, it shows 3 different program impact stories. I'm proud to present to Alcona County that one of the stories I included for our agency overview was a story that happened here in Alcona County. So if you look at the bottom of the program impact page, the very bottom where it says, "So what's my story?" there's a picture of a young lady with her daughter. And her story was submitted to me to be considered for the annual report. And when I read it, I got goosebumps and I probably got teared up a little bit. But it was about a story about a teenage mother that moved here to Alcona County. And she was just 14 years old when she was pregnant. She didn't think that she would have a future. She didn't know what she was going to do. And she connected with our school success liaison here in Alcona County, and with the support from our school success program and a multitude of other programs, she was able to graduate, and her daughter is now in a preschool program, and her intention is to go into ACC this fall for criminal justice to eventually become a corrections officer. So that's just one of our many support and program impact stories. They're around us every day. We're probably familiar with many, many situations of how many lives were impacted by our community action agency. Going forward for the future, and also I would be remiss if I didn't say how awesome it is to have Kelly on board, the last person that did public comment. Since joining NEMSCA, Kelly's been doing an outstanding job with doing census promotion outreach. And even though things have had to be a little bit more creative as far as how to get the word out, she's been doing a great job. And so that's one of the things NEMSCA has been working on in Alcona County. But in addition to that, when I emailed the annual report, I also emailed something that was a flyer that was attached to it that said that this is our CARES program. So I just wanted to, in conclusion, make sure that the board was aware of what our CARES program is, just in case you get any questions about some of the things that we're offering to people that have been impacted by COVID-19. So NEMSCA, being a community action agency, decided to apply and fortunately receive funding to people who have been impacted by COVID-19. And you'll notice on the flyer that some of the things that it could be is if there was home repair assistance that needed to happen, or car insurance or car repairs that needed to be funded. It could be something such as funeral assistance. If somebody had a death due to the pandemic, then we might have some funds available to help pay for funeral assistance and things like that. It could be water, sewer, or anything school-based. So I would just encourage, if you have time, to look at the flyer or visit the NEMSCA website to see what program and fundings are available. That's available here in Alcona County, in addition to NEMSCA's regular programs that we offer to people already. So it's a pretty exciting thing. I'm happy to be able to share it. We have funding with that until it's no longer available. The time frame is supposed to be 2 years, but it'll be depending on how long we've had it. And I know I see Mary from the paper on the meeting as well. I know that I talked to her briefly about it, and I believe there was an article in the paper about that as well. So I guess in conclusion, I just wanted to say thank you again for allowing me to present to you, and hopefully next year it won't be digital. And we appreciate everything that we have as far as interaction and partnering with people in Alcona County. As some of you might know, this county is dear to me. I grew up in Alcona County. I was with Michigan Works when I first started at NEMSCA, representing Alcona County for a few years. And I just love being able to come in here and present to this board. And with that, do you have any questions that I can answer for you?
Thank you, Francis, for presenting. Anybody got a question?
Nope, all set.
Nope. Yeah, the flyer was pretty self-explanatory, and you did a great job explaining it. We appreciate everything we've got. I know we've utilized some of them. What was the last thing? NEMSCA did a thing. Michigan Works helped us with the Workshare program, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's been a great program for us to be able to utilize and use for our people. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a way we can jump in so you don't mind, Commissioner?
You got a question, Lenny?
No, I was just saying, you normally ask us for a report.
Yep.
And I want to make sure I have time for Ms. Carla Brim's.
Okay. Yeah.
Appointment.
Dan, how's your schedule? Lenny, go ahead.
Okay, so we are updating some information. There will be no pop-up this week due to the holiday weekend. Gordon Food Services was not able to provide us with any food due to their distribution network being down during the holidays. So we doubled up the food that we gave out last week. We gave out like twice the meat and double the veggies to cover this week. And I'm very proud of this program. Last week we gave out over $57,000 of free food to 750 families in Alcona County. So we are super stoked to continue this program. Currently, things are changing because our nation is changing. Our nation is opening up, and these big distributors who were giving this food away have come to the realization, like we all do, because they're in it for their shareholders and they're in it for their people, their family. They got to pay their bills. So instead of giving the food away, they're selling it. So as more restaurants and things open up across the nation, this program will slowly start to dwindle out. Right now, Gordon Food has promised us that they're going to be with us until August 17th. So after August 17th, we'll have to make new arrangements on this program. Either we'll have to look at emergency relief trucks through FEMA or some other program. We have no idea what this will look like by September, by August, by most people's standards, because we have no idea about a second wave or anything else. But for right now, we're going to continue to provide these services to our public as best we can. Secondly, there were a couple of changes in our meeting. I will make sure that you guys kind of get the links a lot sooner. We had a little bit of problem with understanding the calendar, because normally it is the fourth Tuesday of the month. And I think we ended up doing it the last Tuesday of the month for this month. And we apologize for the confusion there. But our board meetings are open to the public, and it is the fourth Tuesday of the month. In that meeting, we decided that we were going to address one of the issues in our community, and that's transportation. We are looking at starting a limited transportation program. A few months ago, I reached out to Thunder Bay Transportation. I tried to reach out to a couple of community partners, but we were able to secure and are in the process of securing a shuttle bus that we are going to be purchasing and trying to work. This program is not going to instantly come up, so we're going to have to try to work out the particulars and everything, but that's something that's to be excited that we can offer limited transportation to our community. Congregate Meals and Right now, our board has voted to continue to have this facility remain closed until we are able to meet again in July. Currently, the adult Aging and Service Agency, otherwise known as ASA, is our funding source for our home delivered meals and congregate. And according to the state, which they are the state of Michigan, we are still under a phase 3 reopening for those individuals 60 years or older, which means any individual that is 60 years age or older should not congregate with anyone that's within groups over 10 people. So until we move into a different phase and are advised that from the state, the board moved to continue to have the facility closed for congregate meals. So that would change as we get more guidance from the state. It could change in a couple of weeks if they move it open or start to change different things. I know people are confused because, I can go to Roxy's and I can sit down next to my friend, but we also have to have federal and state guidelines for our facility. And then finally, thank you guys for everything that you guys are doing. You guys are really working above and beyond, keeping us all together and unified and keeping the information out there. With that, I yield for questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Lenny. Any questions? Yes, one.
Lenny, has the communication gone out to all of the sites that there will be no distribution this Friday?
Every site knows, and we put in every box 750 flyers that there will be no distribution this week. And we've also put it out on our Facebook. We paid for the extra ad for our Facebook. We put it out on our website, and we updated Cheryl at the Oconee Review. I mean, that's short of paper in it and having a plane fly over Oconee County. We have done every effort to will people still show up? Probably, but we've tried to make every effort to let everybody know that we're not going to do it this Friday. It was my hope, but we couldn't get food. I mean, I can't put something out there that's not there. And it was my hope to continue to do it this week. But like I said, our distributor just didn't have food to bring it to us because of the holidays.
Understand completely. Thank you for, it does sound like you've gone way above and beyond. I don't know any other way you could notify them.
I don't, and I would love for us to have broadband internet. So if we would love to have a committee for that, let's work on getting some broadband internet. So I could email on it last.
Hey,
guys.
Lenny, quick question. Numbers coming out to those pantries, do you keep track of them? Are they reducing at all, or are they?
They are not. We are holding steady at 750. We thought that would alleviate the pressure at the Lincoln site. We're at the elementary. We're still receiving 250 people at the Lincoln site. Right now, we had Lot Baptist Church. Yes, there was a mistake when we first started. We thought it was the United Methodist because there's only 2 big churches in Glenny, but that was Lot Baptist Church, and they're consistent at 150 participants, and they continue to do that. Barton City has increased the number of people that they are receiving and giving to. So we are holding strong at 750 families that we are feeding every week.
All righty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dan O'Connor.
Thank you. I'll distribute to the commissioners first and then to the audience. So we have 2 renewals as a school district on the ballot in August. The first is our 18 mills, which is about 90% of our state revenue that we receive through local taxes. So that's obviously a pretty key necessity at this point in terms of us being able to pass this. This has been pretty consistent. Well, not pretty consistent. Been in place since Proposal A. So it's a pretty normal thing for voters at this point in the community. But that being said, still trying to get information out and make sure that everybody, understands the significance of it in terms of our operating budget. So without the 18 mills, very difficult for the district to operate. This one's pretty open and closed for the most part. The second renewal, which is actually listed as a new sinking fund request. Sinking fund is only used for facility upgrades, so cannot be used to cover wages for anybody. The state has very, very strict rules on the sinking fund, and this was passed for the first time 5 years ago. So we've had the sinking fund in operation for 5 years now, and it's made a tremendous impact on our district. This brings in about $500,000 a year, and again, we are very fortunate to have this. We have aging facilities, and it's allowed us to re-roof the entire district at this point, invest in LED projects, be able to take out carpet in our elementary building, and put in polished concrete floors to be able to make that, much healthier and cleaner for students and staff. We've been able to repair some handicap accessibility challenges that we've had as well in our district. The key with this is it is a renewal of the sinking fund that was passed 5 years ago, but what it's going to do is it's going to show up on the ballot as a new sinking fund. And that I'm working to confuse voters a little bit. The reason why it's going to show up as a new sinking fund is the state revised their language on what's allowable within sinking funds within the last 5 years. They now allow technology and security. So obviously it makes sense for us to, reclassify with the new version of the sinking fund because of, technology needs and obviously security needs as well. So it's going to show up on the ballot as a new sinking fund. It's not a new sinking fund. It is 1 mil, which is exactly what it was 5 years ago. It was passed by the district voters. So this has made a tremendous difference in the district. This summer we're revamping our HVAC system. You've got a computer system that's 20 plus years old at this point. You've got multiple different buildings and settings that difficult for us to even be able to control with original units from the late 50s all the way to, early 90s. So we're able to essentially reconnect all these different units throughout the district this summer. Extremely excited about it. We've been chasing down rebates for that program. So we're actually, while we may spend $250,000 to $300,000 for a sinking fund of that, we're actually going to be able to recoup almost maybe a third to a quarter of that in rebates through consumers and DTE. So we're trying to be as responsible as we can, much as like we've been with the LED projects along the way as well. If this passes, the goal is next summer to tackle the 1956 windows of the high school, and essentially that will repair that and obviously pair nicely with our new HVAC system as well as the LED, lighting and our new roof as well, and in terms of making the district much more efficient, energy-wise. The following year, we'll probably tackle a PA system that is inept right now in terms of the district. It's difficult to communicate in the district if we were to have an emergency or just be able to get information out easily. Security camera system is aging, and the elementary has limited security cameras as well. We'd like to revamp our entrance to the high school and try to make that a little bit more secure as well as the elementary building. And then we have boilers that are going to be needed to be replaced as well soon. So there may be a few other small projects that we'll be able to tackle there along the way, but extremely thankful for voters to be able to approve this 5 years ago. If people were in the building at that point, they'd be familiar with buckets in the hallways and different things that were happening at that point. So we've tried to be responsible with this and really invest in infrastructure to try to be able to help return dollars to the classroom through the past 5 years, and keeping our fingers crossed that voters saw that and are able to respond positively. But I'm not able to advocate for a yes or no vote. I'm only able to educate. So one thing I'd like to highlight on the back of the pamphlet is all the local millage rates around the area. And just to note, again, trying to be fiscally responsible, we have the lowest in terms of what we're taxing our community. So we're hopeful that we're able to continue upgrading district facilities and keep trying to return dollars to the classroom for kids. So happy to take any questions. It's been really tricky trying to communicate this information out during the pandemic, and I think I'm going to try to squeeze in about 30 meetings in 20 days, over the next month with some help from some other staff. So I'm glad to take on a few questions if you might have any.
Just a comment, I'm glad you made a point of the back page.
Yeah.
It's obvious. I mean, we are the cheapest millage rate within 10 counties here, 12 counties. We'll be able to do with the projects we've had with no bond debt, no loaning, no borrowing money. So that's good.
A couple other brief updates. Mr. Barber was our middle high school principal, resigned about 2 weeks ago. So his last day officially was today, or actually yesterday. Obviously, in light of the challenges of trying to go out and try to find a principal, in the current state of things, and also having somebody in our district working towards that certification, we've appointed Christy Thomas as interim high school, middle school principal. I think she's going to do a bang-up job, and she can survive this year, then she'll be able to survive any school year at this point. So we're sitting on a hiring freeze for the most part, as I talked to the commissioners probably a couple months ago, right during the midst of all this stuff. So financial, money-wise, revenue-wise, I mean, they're really trying to get creative and use some of the CARES money to repurpose into schools to be able to help us in the fall. No firm commitment yet, but there's been positive movement on that, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that that's the direction we're going to end up going. And Governor released a lot of the details yesterday in terms of return to school plan. It's a 63-page document. I have not read it down to the T yet, but skimmed it. We are in phase 4, obviously the separation between Alpena County and our county. So, at this point, we'll be under a bit more scrutiny in terms of our return to school plan. We have to submit 3 plans to the state over the next probably 20 or 30 days. One for a potential phase 3 if we move backwards, and have some remote learning possibilities. One for phase 4, which we're currently in, which essentially, just the cliff notes, mask for everybody, essentially all day long. Elementary, there's a little bit more loose restrictions on that, depending on the setting that you're in. And then we have to submit a plan for phase 5 as well, which phase 5, again, restrictions a little bit less, but strongly recommending students staying in one classroom throughout the day and maybe teachers rotating through. We're trying to keep changing, as minimal as possible. Our goal is to try to be able to squeeze in as much face-to-face as possible while keeping everybody safe. So a lot of dominoes yet to fall, a lot of work ahead in terms of trying to figure all this stuff out, get everybody the PPE, that they need. We kidded yesterday through a group of text messages with some administrators in our district and others around the state. We have a tough enough time keeping hats and hoods off secondary students, so I can only imagine our battle that's going to be ahead with masks at this point. So and hopefully that's the least of our concerns. The educational component is the biggest thing, and obviously with students not receiving any instruction over the last 9 weeks, we've got a lot of catching up to do and a lot of work to do. And our staff is ready and excited and want to get kids back. We just got to figure out how to do it and do it the best we can. So, okay.
All right, any questions?
Just putting in the new HVACs, are you doing anything to do anything with the air quality? Because obviously now with all this, I hate calling it a pandemic, they've been talking about some air filtration systems that work. Is this going to be able to be upgraded to that so we can get away from this mask idea? Because wearing masks is not really healthy.
No,
you're breathing back in your own CO2. If you got learning disabilities now, I have a funny feeling come September, there are going to be more.
That's a whole nother ballgame, Gary. But yes, so to answer your question on the air exchanges, so a lot of the units, especially the older units in the classrooms, aren't functioning. Like, it's not talking as well with the computers it should be. So by connecting those units again and being able to have a more modern system, we're going to be able to have more frequent air exchange, which is going to be great for health, in terms of our kids. So as for the mask piece, we're at the mercy of what we're expected to do. So we've got to just tackle that as is and, try to get education, on par as much as we can. We're purchasing something called the learning management system, and it's something we've been looking at and slowly phasing into, really trying to personalize learning for kids instead of a blanket approach. This system will actually allow us to essentially seamlessly transition between all the different possibilities for education, depending on what it holds. So each student will have a custom portal, K-12. Teachers will be able to upload curriculum and content, whether they're face-to-face, and we're doing it this way, they'll still be able to use technology to be able to access all their learning needs. If we're small group hybrid and seeing students a couple days a week, if we happen to move backwards or whatever the case might be, they'll be able to use this one consistent portal. And we felt like that was really important for parents, for students, trying to access all these different methods of instructional resources. So, and then it will, again, will give teachers a ton of flexibility in terms of being able to assign, Gary a certain, set of standards if he needs it, or Carolyn or whomever. So we're excited, and we were able to negotiate a really good price with it, being a small district, and they wanted a pilot in the rural areas, so we were happy to jump on board with that and talk it down on some prices.
Good deal.
Should be a good thing. We've got enough technology to be one-to-one, and we bought internet for About 30% of our kids at this point. Hopefully they have enough Verizon signal at home to be able to pull that off. That's a whole nother challenge as well, but
You bought internet for,
students,
so you, in other words, you pay their home internet bill?
they get a little hockey puck hotspot that they'll be able to take home if they need it. So, if they need it. It wasn't feasible what we were trying to pull off in the spring, trying to run packets out and deliver it, paper versions to 200 or 300 or 400 kids. It was, it was a nightmare. So if we end up doing that for a longer stretch, we'll accommodate students that if we need to with paper packets, but the quality is just not as good, and the exchange of feedback is not as good between the teachers and students. So
Have you decided to hand the pucks out irregardless, or only if we're
we've
going?
got our only if needed at this point.
Okay.
We don't have 700 hockey pucks, so it's a little tricky.
Sort of the 30% are gonna get them come fall
If we need it.
if we need it.
Yeah.
Not
If we're face to face and we're able to pull that off
Got it.
100% of students, that'll be fine. I expected more stringent social distancing guidelines from the state. That's what we kind of been hearing, and the 6-foot desk spacing, and that was not part of the guidance that was out yesterday. Whether we're in phase 4 or 5, it was essentially do the best you can with social distancing, but they understand the dynamics of that within a school.
I also thought that the younger population was less affected,
Yep. Obviously a concern for me as well is I want to keep everybody safe, but we do have some staff that, they're more veteran at this point, so I'm a little concerned just trying to make sure they have what they need as well. So they're going to be very close proximity with a lot of different people, so we're navigating through that as well. So, and the little guys don't necessarily, or girls, hands to themselves and bodily fluids and all kinds of fun stuff. You're just not sure what you're going to get with that whole element. So we're going to have quite a bit more sanitizing stations and things like that in the district as well, and we're hopeful that our funding at least stays flat, with the offset of all the extra dollars to be able to make all that happen. So
I'll just give you an image: runny noses and masks.
that's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good.
That's gonna be bad.
Well, like I said, optimistic still that we might, move to phase 5, which gives us a lot more flexibility and,
Speaking of which, I know that when I was in school, 12th grade, they started handing out paper and pens. Are you guys going to be handing out masks?
those are topics for conversation here in the next couple of weeks. So we have a
And is it
meeting.
going to be one mask a year, or are you required to hand out one mask every day? And
Well,
what's that going to do to your budget?
those are serious questions that we have to answer coming up in July. So we have to be ready for just about anything. And if the expectations that students are wearing masks, that would be a pretty easy move for a older student to say, forgot it, send me home.
My mask.
And so we're gonna, it'll be a little tricky there as well, trying to navigate those pieces too.
Well, you just have that ugly looking one to say, oh, here's the one you'll be wearing. And,
There you go.
You can't reuse them.
well, no, it won't be reused. It'll be a new one.
Yeah, there are many, many hurdles ahead. I mean, we're just scratching the surface. We are eagerly
Through
waiting
the
the guidance
pandemic, and all I
yesterday,
got was
so,
a stupid mask.
We'll take it day by day. That's what we've done so far. We're ready for just about anything. And if some families don't feel comfortable sending students back, we're ready for 100% online too. We found a vendor that we're able to supply to classes, and we'll have an in-district liaison, helping as well to make sure, if that's what families want, that's what they'll be able to have.
Do they have to initiate that, or are you going to have a Q&A on it?
I do have Zooms for the millage here over the next month. My first one's tonight at 7. So I'm going to bring that up probably weekly in each of the topics, just to make sure everybody understands their options. We don't want to lose students. I mean, that's this is going to be challenging enough as it is. We just want to make sure parents know we're ready to pivot and try to be able to help however they need.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm not sure if neighboring districts are quite that ready to pivot that quickly too. So we're not, like I said, we're not out to recruit other students or anything like that, but we're here and ready, if they're not ready to tackle that.
Well, I think you and we all have been ahead of this on many things, and I congratulate you at the school. I think we've always, since this began, I feel like we've been ahead of the curve. Other people look to us to say, oh, what are you doing there? So I
We're the only
appreciate that.
school that continued the food distribution during the summer. Good, bad, or not, I mean, we're still giving out 350 meals or so a week,
Mhm.
and just accessible. People need it, that type thing. And the numbers have been up and down, a little more inconsistent than Lenny, but you're just not sure what people are going through or what they're dealing with. And sometimes with the students, what we found is that was like one familiar thing for them. Maybe they didn't even need the food, the family didn't, but the student just felt like it was a part of school when they hadn't had a lot of school type activities, so it was a big thing for them.
Any update on graduation on how it's gonna happen? I mean, I know it's happening and I know, but is there any change in how it's happening or?
So right now, as it stands, we're still limited to 100 people outside. So we're gonna have a ceremony. There's actually a letter going out today to all the senior parents, but we're gonna have, as it stands today, we're gonna have a ceremony at 5 and a ceremony at 7. Each graduate will be given 3 tickets plus themselves to be able to bring 3 guests. We'll live stream it, and we had the alphabet essentially split in half. One session at 5, one session at 7, and we'll have valedictorian, salutatorian, and class president speeches at both ceremonies. They'll be present at both, and we're gonna sit everybody in the football field with their 3 guests, so they'll be side by side, spaced out, all that kind of stuff, and go from there. So that's typically how districts have been trying to pull it off around the state. And my fingers crossed that maybe we move to phase 5 and we're able to be a little bit more flexible with guests and maybe bring it back.
And we can move that quick. You can change things up if you have to.
Yeah.
If we go to 5, good.
By just having it that one day, I think it'd be a quick, easy pivot, just going to 7 o'clock and
Yep.
having everybody there.
Good.
So
Dan, what was the date on that?
it's the 24th, I believe.
Yep, July 24th.
Yep, July 24th. So we're excited to be able to get that, and we're glad we kicked it down the road long enough to be able to, pull off a larger ceremony, because I know some schools did it really quick. They just dropped diplomas off and, driveways and stuff like that. And so we're glad to be able to try to do something face to face for kids, even if it ends up being 50-50. The students really want to be together. They want to do a whole group ceremony. So, and I said, well, what your choice is to do a whole group ceremony and bring 1 guest, or split it in half and bring 3, and the consensus kind of was, well, we'd rather try to bring some people too. So, but hopefully, again, maybe we'll move to phase 5, and we've got some time to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I think it's possible. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions for Dan?
Thank you for the help in communicating this out. Again, like I said, I'll be traveling around quite a bit trying to communicate the message. And if anybody has questions, gripes, wants to talk about past projects and future projects and more details, just direct them to me. I'll be glad to have that conversation with them. So, all right. Thanks for the time, guys.
Thanks, Dan. Jeff?
Good morning.
Morning.
Surcharge renewal. We did, the last one was in 2016. This one expires, this one with Tom's signature on it. Get that there. Tom Weichel reviewed the language. And it's up again for renewal, and it ends June of 2021. Basically, the language is the same as it's been for the last 8 or 9 years. The surcharge provides us with 2/3 of our operating budget. So.
This is for the November ballot?
Yes, sir.
Do you need our approval to put this on for the November ballot?
Yep.
Okay. All right, nothing's changed on it, right? It's the same.
No, it's the same, just some dates. What we did do was, or what I'm asking for in this is, instead of going 4 years, going 6 years. So we're not doing this again in 4 more years. Maybe go a couple of extra years. Want to, do it during a voting session. So on this, I've asked to go to 2027. And it's up to $3. That doesn't mean that we have to charge $3. So it just gives us the leeway to go up that high. We can always come back down as well per device.
What is the surcharge right now?
$3.
$3, okay.
It's been that way since.
That's what I thought, a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, well, I know it's been that way since at least 2012, but it was there prior to my coming on board. So it's been around for probably close to 16 years now. We've been charging that.
Okay, any questions on?
No, make a motion.
We will in new business, we'll put it in the new business.
New business?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Anything else?
Just a couple things going on with dispatch. We had a dispatcher retired, Barb Spencer retired after 28 years. Her actual last day was, I think, just a couple of days ago, because she took some time prior to her leaving, but she has been gone for about 3 weeks. Hiring process is a little bit difficult during these times, but we did do some interviews, and I've kind of narrowed it down to several candidates, and maybe doing a hiring in the next day or two of a full-time and then a hiring of a part-time. We're short a part-timer as well. So it should bring us back up, but it takes about 3 months of training to get them where they're able to actually work on their own, learning all the various equipments. The new computer-aided dispatch system is underway. We're currently loading all the computer stuff. Myself and Kaylee Burney, one of the dispatchers, have been working with the CAD company to get the new CAD up and running. We're hoping to have it all done by the end of July and in place. And then there'll be a little bit more of a training curve on learning it. The good thing is we're going from an existing company that we've been using. The system is very, very similar, so the learning shouldn't be too tough for the dispatchers that are currently using it. Mapping is going to be outstanding on it. We should have some really, really good pinpointing of locations on our mapping and stuff like that, so we can get the help to people a little bit faster and sooner. So that's all underway. That's kind of what's happening in dispatch. So, thank you for your time.
Great, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, that's when it goes through.
It's not the bill.
No, that was a millage that we have.
Okay, that one goes on the phone.
This one goes on the phone.
All right, I have no other presentations. Tony, did you have something, or?
Yeah, it just came in, our fall conference was canceled, so we want to make another amendment to our grant with the budget amendment.
Okay.
And opt into the Michigan Veterans Affairs food voucher program and purchase $600 worth of $50 food vouchers for our veterans.
Okay.
I just need an approval on that.
Is it changing the bottom line?
No, we're just
Okay.
moving money
We
around
don't have to do
that's already
All yours.
we received.
So I just need to sign this, and
Yep.
do I gotta be appointed to sign it, or
Finance that needs to handle it. Because
says
it's not
authorize an
changing.
official printed name, Chief Financial Officer?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's Department of Military Affairs.
That's
No, I
different.
gotta sign it. I will. All right, thanks, Tony.
Do it. You need to sign it? Is that, I don't know, if it's me or Adam, or who is it?
Well, no,
Well, I'm
Craig, you signed the last one.
Yeah,
you brought out here.
but this one says Chief Financial Officer, Department of Military and
That's-
Veterans Affairs.
That's for the grant.
Yeah, there's
that's me then.
4 signature spots.
You're right
there.
underneath Tony.
It should be the one right underneath mine.
Okay,
I volunteered for that, remember?
yep, I remember that.
What a good soul.
Yeah, look at me.
So, no other presentations or public comments?
The lady from MSU's up there. I see her face.
Oh.
No, we're at.
We moved on from public comment. Where were you? We already did public comment.
I just happened to be here.
I know, but we had public
You gotta
comment
wait till the
before
end now.
presentations.
Well, you just said it again.
What do you need, Mr. Harvey?
Really don't need anything. The road commission is busy doing all the township's work, trying to get all your grass cut, trying to get our new wash barn built. I know this year we will probably lose $1 million, and but we should be fine right there to get through at least a couple more years. Just to bring it to your attention, Mr. Scully is probably thinking maybe at the end of the year, he's kind of brought it to us that maybe he may be resigning. I don't know if he is or isn't. Our meeting is next Wednesday. I do believe that we,
You gonna go live?
pardon me?
You gonna go live?
Yes,
All
I
right.
think while we're supposed.
I can't get on your Zoom
So
for
this
some
could-
reason.
This could change. That's really about it. We're going to Haynes tomorrow. Just going to be making some rounds. A lot of the townships do a fantastic job. Here on Pines has helped us with an awful lot of culverts for the rivers. Really glad to work with them. At the Rural Task Force, I know that we will see just about how much money that we are gonna lose, so that won't take place until next year. Really what all I got to say about the road commission.
Alrighty. Thanks. All right, hearing nothing else in public comment and presentations, we got a couple items to add into new business, the 911 operating surcharge. We also have our agreement for the workshare program. I don't see that.
Be under unfinished business or under new, doesn't matter to me as long as we put it in someplace.
We'll put it under new business and then we'll. Any other items to put in the agenda? Let's vote on the new agenda. We haven't done that in the past. I think we should do that. All those in favor of the new business? Yeah, because we start a new trend.
Might do things the right way for a change.
Oh, Gary.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, new business. We have no unfinished business. Start with the new then. So claims.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between June 17th, 2020 and June 30th, 2020 for check numbers 141205 to 141307 and e-check numbers 1328 for a grand total of $184,482.83.
There's support?
Second by Briggy.
Moved and supported. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Knopf,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
Anything else to add with that, or we good?
You want the finance committee
You want
report?
finance there or you want? finance later?
We don't have it anywhere on here, so let's do it right now.
Okay. Let me read it.
I can do it. So with the approval for Alcona County to implement a work-share program, and after review of our current budget report regarding revenues and expenditures to date, is our recommendation that we immediately ask all departments to stop all unnecessary spending for the remainder of the year. We would ask for approval of a hiring and wage freeze for the remainder of the year. We recommend starting the process of reviewing our upcoming health insurance renewal, union contracts, obligations made for the upcoming year, 2021, and the possibility for a continued wage and hiring freeze. Because of the executive orders implemented concerning the COVID-19 pandemic, we were delayed and are only now in the process of having our audit completed for 2019. Once this audit is complete, we will have complete and up-to-date account of our current budget status. With the current data, we are currently showing $170,000 deficit in our 2020 budget. So no good news from finance.
So you'd like this to digest for a bit and talk about a motion at the next meeting, or you'd like, is that in the form of a motion, or is that a?
Just recommendation from finance committee. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a recommendation from us, so. I don't know what there is to digest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that. We need a resolution or a motion to not spend extra money if you don't have to. And I know Jeff's trying to replace some employees that he got rid of for hiring, but that's, I don't know if that's outside of this or not. So it does bear some thought. And if you want to make an official, Dan, if you're with me on this, if you want to make an official proclamation of some kind in the next meeting.
Well, we'll take for a hiring and a wage freeze. I would think we'd want a motion to do that on board
I believe
action.
that Scott Stevenson just interviewed as well, so that's 2.5 positions. I don't know if his was full-time or part-time.
You know, we understand that there's already some things in place for hiring and that, but, you know, it's our intention to let everybody know that we are in not good shape for 2020. And not, you know, and as it says, once our audit's done, knowing where we ended up in 19, know where we're moving forward in 2020, not knowing where any of our cost share money's coming from the state, whatever, it's just not in good shape as of right now. So we're just wanting to bring it to everybody's attention that there's some things that need to be put in place to help this fallout, if it does help the remainder of this year.
Well, 1 and 3 are easy. That's just directive. That's
Well,
memoed.
I would
Number
ask,
2 is a
how are
little
you,
more.
who is going to, and how is it going to be determined what's necessary and unnecessary spending?
Well, the department heads would.
So is it gonna be, the question is, in other words, stay within your budget?
Yeah, but you know.
Well,
if it
stay
ain't
within your
fixed, don't-
budget, but use extra discretion.
Yeah, if it isn't fixed, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. I mean, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Pretty straightforward. Whatever you can save, save.
Yep.
I realize everybody's making those efforts already. We both realize that.
Yeah.
But, it's gotta be, we have to say this in a public forum,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the public knows that the board acknowledges that we have a situation that we're trying to overcome.
Yeah, and we've done that in the past. Usually it comes around in September, but we're just 3 months early.
Yeah.
So, and the third one is a no-brainer. We're gonna be doing that, health insurance, union contracts. That's
Yep.
the second one that,
But the third one is important to mention now because
Yes.
in the past, we have waited until
Right.
whoever generates the delay, I don't know which side it is, it doesn't matter at this point, but we need to start sooner.
Yeah.
Can't wait till November to start hashing out all this stuff.
Well,
You know, and I think-
healthcare is the one that usually holds us up because they don't get us the renewal. So we don't even know what the renewal cost is.
Well, I agree, but
Yeah.
still, we can still start talking union
You can
contracts.
still
and-
start, even without our renewal, you can still, is there other options out there? Without even having the renewal, is there other options available?
Yep.
You know, which you don't need, it'd be something new, but it's just like you said 3 minutes ago. This is 3 months earlier than what we're used to, and there's a reason for that. We need to get on this faster, so. That's what we're just recommending from what we see in our budget.
Yep. So the second one is the one I think is an action item that needs action from this board. Do we want a motion to put a wage and hiring freeze in effect?
I think that wage freeze is gonna affect, the Teamsters union contract in regard to their anniversary dates with their step increases, which will increase their wages.
But that's something that's already been put in place, right?
Well, is it a wage freeze, or do the Teamsters still get their increases, or are they frozen?
Well, this isn't a motion, first of all.
So we do need to
It's
digest.
not
it.
written as a motion. It's written as a recommendation.
Okay.
So if a motion needs to be drafted that says, except for already agreed upon,
Right.
So you will present
already
that.
contractual, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. That's the one I think needs action. If there's gonna be anything on here that's gotta get board approval, is gonna be that.
Well, I would like to see us designate which funds.
Okay.
I mean, presumably this is almost totally, if not totally, 101.
All right. So we'll see something of that at the next meeting by one of us, correct?
We can.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether it's finance or personnel or a combination
I
of
mean,
all of
we're
us.
all the budget committee, Carolyn, so,
Right.
as I've heard many a time.
You have. You have.
All right. On that cheery note, we'll move on from finance.
I have
Oh,
one
another
other
one.
finance. Yeah, you have, we have 2 line item transfers to approve. One is the amount of $1,400, moving money out of contingency into the retiree health line of the sheriff's department. That's for our health insurance obligations to sergeant that retired. So we need to move that from contingency over to that line item. And then we had a $35 bank fee that we need to move out of our contingency over to our 101, which is our bank fees. There was a $35 charge that came through. We had no money in that line item. So that was the 2 line item transfers we need to be approved.
Is that a motion?
I'll second.
And support?
By Berkey.
Got that stuff?
Yeah.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Brumman.
Yes.
Canuck.
Yes.
Frangie.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
While we're on this, audit is progressing.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's either finished up today or tomorrow. We have been on call for any situations where the finance committee would have to have input, and we've had
That one.
one situation where we looked into some things, but other than that, it's been quiet.
Great.
For us. But I
They're
don't
busier
know.
now upstairs.
I can't speak to what they're going through upstairs though, so. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
sure they're going through an examination.
We're trying not to butt in.
All right, very good, thank you. Next item. MERS temporary modification of benefit provisions. Is this in response to the work share program?
Yes, it is.
Let's start with the work share program first then, and then it may be a moot point if it doesn't get voted on, so. Work share program. So we've had several meetings on this. We have a, Harry, could you go out on that printer and grab, there's some papers in there that were printed off.
Your office?
Nope, right outside the door. So I think we all got a letter from personnel on what. I revised it, I ran it past Carolyn, I didn't run it past you. It's not radically different, but it
There's
was,
nothing there.
well, I don't have it.
If you would, look at the one in our room, just as you walk in on the right-hand side, about halfway.
If not, it's in the one in equalization.
Excuse me for a minute, I thought I heard it printing off when
Maybe it printed off.
Here's the button.
At MSU, who knows?
Since you guys are waiting, I know our audit was approved by the Board of Commissioners, you guys should have that. Also, we've got 4 people that are probably gonna retire by the end of the year. Good paying jobs. I really would like to see some women apply for these truck driving jobs, but we never get any.
You don't want me driving a truck.
No, but I mean,
Oh,
they're
I would-
all good paying jobs.
I think you
and
should.
they can Drive a truck.
Yeah.
But we
I've
never
driven
get a
backhoes.
woman to apply for them jobs.
Let's do a 5-minute recess.
You got a job for the guy that holds the sign, cause I'll go
Well-
for that.
We don't do too much of that.
All right, let's take 5 minutes. Is that what we're doing?
I don't know. I
No.
wasn't.
I wasn't.
No? All right. Well, that's not then. I'm fine with the keeping going. So this is well, just a slight revision.
That's what you revised.
So what it reads is this document, this is was sent to the Teamsters Union. This document is to provide the information regarding the federal state work share program for Alcona County employees commencing June 27th, ending August 30th. At this time, the board intends on including 3 units. Plan would be comprised as follows: the courts, salaried employees, and hourly employees, therefore 3 units. The individual units would provide for a court reduction of pay of 10% for salaried workers and a 20% reduction of hours for hourly employees.
So it's 10% for both court and salaried workers. correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So that met with a firm affirmation with the Teamsters Union, from what I understand. I think they voted, I'm not sure, but they're verbally in agreement with that. Any questions?
No.
No, we can't vote till Karen comes
I
back.
think there was a mandatory 5-minute recess for one commissioner. Good
All
vote.
right. I think she anticipates a lengthy discussion on this matter.
Let's see, any questions about what?
Well, Trina called down this morning and there was a few questions they had concerned upstairs in filling out the application. One was if a employee is a part of the work share program and participates in the work share program, say pay period 30, but then pay period 31 is not a participant, but then pay 32 is there a problem receiving benefits? And I don't think there is. I mean, you can go in, Abe has said you could go in and go out of this program.
That's the way I
anytime you
understood
want,
it.
You know, but they weren't sure about that. That was one of the questions.
Shut my ringer off, sorry.
The other question, let me see, I asked you about it. What was it, what was the other question? Do you know what the other question was?
Me?
Yeah, I remember I asked you was,
Mm-mm.
The question was, the first question, that was about week to week within the same plan period or the next?
no,
plan
within the
period?
same plan period.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
just, and you can, and according to what she said on the phone, you can qualify this week, but not next week.
Yeah, you can go in and out. It
Yeah.
just- Yeah.
It's not really
Oh,
in
the
and
other-
out, you're just qualifying or not qualifying.
The other one was, there's some, the other one was, there's some department heads concerned whether they would have the right or their job would be to decide who in their department could be involved in that work share program that week or not. Is it their decision or is it gonna be our decision on who's participating in that work share program during that week, during that pay period? That was another question.
So, when we talked about this initially, my understanding was you don't certify until the end of the week.
Right.
So, that department head during that week may have chosen that the workload said, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That person had to be there all week, so they would have to,
I think what they're saying is, are we gonna say, this department's gonna be short one employee is gonna participate this week without their knowledge, without their okay? I think that's what they're saying. That's just a question, but that was one of the questions.
My question is that this says that it's commencing effective June 27th. My understanding of the application process, that it goes into effect the date that application is submitted.
Yeah, I think the June 27th number, is that Sunday? Is that the Sunday
Saturday.
date? Saturday date?
It was,
Yeah.
it was the date that, the last time we met,
Right.
that we were told to use.
So the hope was the application was gonna get in this week and it would be able to be included on
And I
the
realize it's
Saturday.
not.
So
But-
now it's not.
But that's what we started with.
Right.
I didn't feel I had the authority to change it, to bringing it forward. No,
Well, I mean, this isn't a motion. This is just
No,
information.
exactly.
This is
It's
what the
informational.
union was
Yeah.
receiving. So, what the motion would be is, whether or not we are gonna submit a work share program, application.
yeah, that's all we need to.
That's really all it is.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we
decide
did
to do
that.
We, that's done.
So that, we've been submitted.
No, we haven't been submitted.
well,
They're
we're-
working on it. So once
we're
they
okay
submit,
to
then we
submit.
get,
the actual
we get,
July 4th.
then they let us know if we're approved.
Right.
Then we have to vote on the start date.
Right. All right.
My understanding is that we have been approved and given a number.
Okay.
Now it's the plan kind of thing, yeah. So
And
we
if
have-
you're approved to given that number within that pay period and you had it dated back on that Saturday, you would be eligible for that week, especially the federal.
Right, right.
Correct.
That's what the whole thing is. So we've already approved, you participated in this. They're working on the application. If you got the Teamsters and not everybody's agree on that, then they would
Teamsters
just
are-
move forward of filling out the application.
Okay, so I guess I'm just giving you information.
Where was the approval at? I wasn't present for any of that.
Monday
Monday.
at the meeting.
Monday, there's a motion.
Motion to proceed with the application for the Michigan Unemployment Agency's Work Share Program with an end date of August 30th, 2020. Units to be determined.
I thought we meant approved at the state level for the application to proceed.
All right, and I guess we have nothing other than information, so you have that. And
They just fill out the application and get it submitted.
so then the MERS temporary modification to
Well-
benefit provision is applicable because
Just a
the,
moment. Do we want to affirm the percentages? No?
I think we already did that.
Okay.
So we have a form.
Should we change the date from June 27th to this?
Well, our original motion covers it, only has an end date, doesn't have a beginning date.
Okay.
This, I can adjust that for the union, anything,
Okay.
or whatever it ends up
Okay.
being.
Right.
So,
We do have to vote on this.
yes, so we have and I think Trina explained it to us. temporary modification to benefit provisions. So this is the MERS retirement system in recognition of the impact the local units of government and adjustments to their workforce to maintain essential services and comply with stay home, stay safe, and all the different stuff. The employer affirms it's making temporary benefit adjustments in good faith in the effort to continue operations that they are within the parameters outlined in the MERS plan document in this agreement. These temporary modifications may not result in a diminishment of benefits for participants. The employer agrees to adopt and administer the MERS defined benefit, defined contribution hybrid plans provided by the MERS System of Michigan as authorized in accordance with the MERS plan document. By checking this box, the employer indicates the above provisions are not being modified, which is all of the current MERS eligible divisions, and directs MERS to skip months reported with a discrepancy code of quote unquote other and noted as COVID-19 when determining an employee's final average compensation for benefit calculation. So.
Katrina spoke to MERS if you want her to come down and explain it, but it was in question as to if you were going to, the first box, provide this hourly or daily.
Well, the question was which is the correct box under number 2 for us to check. Last I talked with her, which was yesterday, there was still some debate.
Can I make a motion to allow signature of the MERS document by the supervisor, right? The chairman upon finding of which appropriate.
Yep, which box to check?
Box to check.
Yep.
Doesn't by Breggy.
Seconded by Dan. Any discussion? All those in favor, say yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Carries.
If I may, I know the other question though, I remembered it. And this might be a thing for Avis, is the question is that with this federal money, we're developing this program within the time frame of, if we do get approved that who is involved in this work share program this time would receive this federal $600. The question is that they have is if they're not in this developed share program now, and our program ends August 30th, and that federal money, do they need to be in our work share program now? If that federal money is extended on, do they need to get into that program now while that federal money is still available? If they don't get in it now, then we put a new one in September, are they gonna miss out on that $600?
Oh, I wouldn't even know.
Well, that was
Hazard
the
to
question.
guess.
That was the question.
I would think even Davis wouldn't even know the answer to that question.
Who knows?
I mean, it's, do you need to be in the work share program while that's going on? That's in the question. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it was starting a second plan too.
Right, and starting a second
Otherwise,
plan.
then Kim's inputting into 2 different plans now.
Right, so I don't know, I guess.
We'll go ahead with this one as it is.
2 plans now?
No,
Oh,
they're not
yeah,
on
yeah,
now.
okay, yeah.
I mean, I think that was kind of my intention, that everybody is a name on a paper, if everybody gets in on this first phase in case that federal money's
That was my intention as
extended.
well.
Is extended, they're in it, whether they qualified for anything at all, you know what I'm saying? At least they're in it. You never know what they're gonna do, but that was another question I remember Trina asked, so.
Well, at this point, these are the only ones that want to be in it. We've talked to many and they've said nope.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
if we have to start another plan and it's later, it may not have any federal money.
Right.
It may be nothing.
Or if they miss out on it because they didn't get in this first program.
Right.
That's not our
It
problem.
is what it is, yeah.
That is what it is. Okay. Just bring it up.
All right, so did we vote on the MERS thing? I didn't even.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very good.
done.
I missed it.
You just gotta sign it and give it to.
Sign
Okay.
it, give it to.
I
We'll
wonder,
find out which box it is.
I wonder if we should go back and do a roll call, just because every so often something like this is Although no,
I think we're good.
I think we're good, yeah.
I'd like to take a few minutes. It was my wife calling from Indiana, so I don't know if something big's going on or so.
Certainly.
Take a break.
No, what?
Should have raised your hand
I
earlier.
should have done it on public comment or something
Yeah.
like that. Holy cow.
We got through all the new business then, right?
No,
911 motion.
911 millage.
We're just giving, take a break.
And
You don't look
I
happy
have
about
to
that
leave
one.
Soon, I have to leave it just shortly after noon.
Okay, we'll be done. We don't have much left.
Mine won't take long, that's why I wanted to do mine.
He's just gotta make a phone call in case it's an emergency.
I waited for you yesterday at the round table, you never showed up.
At the round table,
I don't see no more, you'll know where it is.
never showed up.
Where you and I and Jim,
Oh, yeah? Oh, they were there yesterday?
no, just me.
Uh-huh.
There's no
Just me.
Oh.
I figured maybe you guys would be there.
No.
What, say that again? There's no,
I was
No
down here
interest.
because of the
right,
audio.
that's what I understand.
Yeah, okay, that's what
I don't
I,
know where Jim was
I
at.
thought your audit year had to be done.
not
by
that it
then.
affects me, but
Couldn't do it because of the
Oh, I see.
COVID. They couldn't come down. So we had to apply for a month extension.
Oh,
And now they're finally here. And that's why the finance report had that in there. We just don't have complete data to let you know exactly where we're at 2020 right now. All we can tell is where we know we're at right now without the audit adjusting any numbers from 19 and 20.
I think they're wrapping up today.
Yeah, they're supposed to, I think it'll be done today. And so we'll have the report in the next couple of weeks and then, you know.
I think our funds are gonna be down at least 35%. Somewhere, it could be 40. Well, the gasoline tax, I mean, the federal stuff, we don't know what we're getting, not
Yeah.
then, Bill,
Yes. Increase like 34,000.
Overrun, even building department? Heck, no.
115.
No way.
We got 107 or something like that.
11 last year.
109,
111,
111.
11 something.
Yeah. I don't like that word.
Four then.
What's, Harry, what's going on with that, what is that, 41 or whatever it is, that,
That's a mile section from the school to the city.
no,
Oh,
or is it 51, the thing that they try to, when they split up the road millage between big towns,
Yeah, two townships.
between the rurals and the cities, they always make a provision that you always get more, and they've been talking about changing that
Have to give you a little more what you're talking about.
from the state when it comes to allocation
Oh.
for roads.
We determined that at the spring rural task force. We go out as far as 5 years, what we're gonna do and not gonna do sometime, and then if you don't use it for a road, you're automatically gonna lose it, and then you get set back. The mile section going into Lincoln, we were supposed to do that last year, got set till this year. They've got such a late start into there. Heaven knows when they're gonna have it done at the rate they're going. This may go from deer season. I mean, we really didn't want that. and We don't know if it is or isn't. From the Banfield Dam all the way to Curtisville, that's a 3-mile stretch. That's supposed to start in September 1st. Don't know if it will or won't. The Cedar Lake project from Cedar Lake Road to Cedar Lake Drive should have been started. That's kind of sitting there. The actual dam, of course, the dam's what held this whole thing up, all from a DEQ permit.
Right.
So we could all go on, but it's just that kind of year.
I hate to see the years go by fast, but it'd awful nice to get rid of this one.
Yes, the sooner the better.
Yeah. Sure.
Might have a problem.
So they haven't put it on that dam down there in Greenville?
2 minutes, we can carry on. We still have a quorum, we can give them 2 minutes and carry on here.
Well,
Yeah.
the immigration thing.
The 911's pretty
Tax
straightforward.
bill.
Yeah, we know.
Nothing's done.
Tom's already approved
Plus, it has stuff to do with DEQ. Following the lake level down that lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
said the cows got out, but I know what you're
No, she's in Indiana taking care of her grandma, so I wanted to
Oh,
make sure.
check that.
Hang in there, Missy.
All right, you guys figure it all out and
No, we haven't
Yeah,
discussed
you're
it.
911
you're
the
the
next
answer to it all, so we would.
911.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we approve the language for the 911.
Support.
millage.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Gary?
Yeah, it's funny. As of today, my telephone is out again. This isn't as easy as just $3 per household. This is $3 per device. It winds up costing a lot of people money. I've heard that there was supposed to be a reduction, and I really struggle with it going for the 6 years. I think, I'll be honest with you, and some of the money that's not captured is track phones or government-based phones or any of these other things. And I really struggle with the taxpayers that own devices that are honest about it, getting stuck with this charge. And that's all I'm gonna say, and it's not up for
Duly
discussion,
noted.
that's my comment. And I'd like a roll call on the vote.
Any discussion?
Nope.
No? Hearing none, all right. Roll call, please.
Brady,
Yes.
Manut,
No.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
Motion passes, so that'll be on. I think that's it on our new business.
Yep.
Treasurer's report, I think the treasurer is
Plenty
auditing.
busy, we don't have to worry about that.
Yep. Clerk's report? Stuff?
I've just been attending election trainings
Missy might want so.
individually at each township hall. And in Mitchell Township this afternoon. And things are already starting to come in for the November election. The office now being returned open to the public has been extremely busy. There are, I think Brooke stood at the window almost for an hour straight doing CPLs. A lot of marriage licenses are coming in, some genealogy requests. Auditors are here. They kept Kim moving pretty much most of the day yesterday. And Trina today, hopefully she's able to provide them with what they request, and that's about all I have in the report.
How much, I mean, do you think a lot of this is catching up for 3 months?
Mhm.
Yeah, people are trying to,
Plus a couple other worldwide issues, I don't know.
This is just a question from my knowledge. After the August primary, what is the time frame for somebody to put in their name to run as an independent? After the August primary, for the November election? Is there a date?
Yes. It's July 21st.
Before the August primary?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so then after the August primary, there's nothing then?
But then to run as a write-in.
Oh, write-in.
You can, that's in, I believe, in October sometime.
Oh,
It's just
you
within a
can-
few weeks.
Oh, you can
before
go
the
as a
election.
write-in all the way up to
Yes.
then, okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
Might
Just a
not be
que-
100% Dan.
Well, it's just a
16th, July
clarification.
16th and July 21st.
You're very close. If you're not right on, you're very close.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they take that write-in date right up,
Yeah.
very close.
any other questions for the clerk? All right, communications, we have several resolutions for your reading enjoyment.
Reading enjoyment,
Committee reports. Gary, do you have anything?
No, nothing since the last meeting.
Okay, Dan?
No. That's good.
Adam?
No.
Carolyn?
Nothing, other than we have been continuing to get the 211 flood reports and activity reports and that type of thing, but
I did, you guys, I guess, were updated on it. Denise called me yesterday about it from DHD. There's a press release going out about
Yes.
Cedar Lake.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, about PFAS, it's nothing to do with COVID, so let's be clear on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I told her that's the,
I think I sent you a copy of that, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
we all got it, yeah. we all-
I
it.
got one. I don't
Okay.
remember who sent it to me, but I
you
got it.
live down there. I mean, Cedar Lake was always the good lake and the Van Etten one was the.
Well, it still is.
I think it probably still is. For all you Cedar Lake people, still is. But, yeah, so they've got the same, well, not the same issue. It's a different,
It's it's still a phone.
still a
Yeah,
foam.
still a foam.
Still, they don't know where it come from,
Questionable
but
phone.
Asking people.
We're, we will be having our public hearing on the dam assessment. I don't have the exact date yet, but it's coming up.
For which public hearing?
Um,
Oh, for your,
Cedar Lake Dam assessment.
Cedar Lake Dam thing.
not for construction, for the Cedar Lake Dam.
No, I'm sorry.
Cedar Lake weed.
The weeds. Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
sorry.
say,
Weed,
we already
yeah.
did that. Yeah, the
I was
weed
gonna say, I
assessment.
hope the dam doesn't have no more public hearings.
I started sweating.
Well, I'm sorry. Too many of those things going on.
Whew. Okay.
So.
All right, public comment.
Yeah.
Troy, do you have anything?
Yeah, I do. Just to kind of give you an update on designated assessor, I gave you guys all that.
Yep.
Alpena, I've been in touch with Ted Summers, which is the equalization director in Alpena. He's having a Zoom meeting with his townships right today. He's supposed to let me know how that, and with the commissioners to see what they're gonna do. Right now, we were talking about him being our designated and me doing his, but now we're kind of like, let's just stick within our own county, and we would have to set up a fee schedule with the township. I'm planning on having a meeting probably in August sometime to sit with supervisors. This is for if they fail. Hopefully, we never have to come across this, but we would have to have this in place and agreed upon with the townships.
In case it happens.
If it happens, there's some kind of,
And it has happened here, so.
there has, Greenbush
Yeah.
was, I think, and Mitchell, I think, was another one that had the same kind of issue, so, but now they're putting it on the county to have a designated assessor, or have somebody in place, and then we have to look,
So are they obligated to use our designated assessor, or can they get somebody hired in place of?
they have to have a contract with the designated assessor.
Right, but they would, I mean, so if we put in a billing structure of $100 an hour for a designated assessor, and they fail, and they go through the process of hiring an assessor, they wouldn't utilize our designated assessor at all.
They have to have it with us.
Right.
With us in a contract. It doesn't mean like I would.
We're not obligated to be the assessor.
Correct. We would have to have somebody do it. Like I'm gonna say, say Alcona, which is one of our biggest ones. Our office probably could not handle that, to have it done within a year. You would have to.
But we're not gonna be responsible to find them the assessor to take care of that.
Well, that's what we have to talk about, how we wanna handle this.
I mean, that's still gonna be
That's
the,
stuff we have to, if we don't handle it, then we have to get somebody in place that is that's where it may cost.
But the county,
The state,
It's
it
not
falls
cost-
back on
it
the
falls back
county.
on the county if the township,
the
and then if
township's
we don't
gonna
do
let us
something about
spend
it,
their money.
Township's gonna spend it's no.
no,
cost for the
it's
county.
not let us, they have to.
Well, they're gonna relinquish control of their money to us, and we'll tell them who they're gonna have for an
We're
assessor.
gonna have a contract, an agreement with them.
Ooh.
That's the state mandate. And the alternative is if we don't do that, then the state comes in and charges all of us.
Yeah,
For an
well,
assessor.
I get the designated assessor thing, but, so, in my world of thinking, township board, we failed our assessment, we gotta get an assessor. So if by the next meeting, we find an assessor and say, we got one in place, he's gonna look at our books and get it taken care of,
No,
we don't even,
because in July or August of 2020, that assessor was put in place, i.e. so it falls back to that contractual
We're
obligation.
gonna have somebody in place.
There's
By
gonna
the
Yeah.
end of the year, we
Well,
have to have somebody.
but what
in-
Craig is saying is this, Craig is saying is that what if the township doesn't want to use the county designated?
Then they won't sign the contract with us.
They have
but
to have something in.
They will
place.
sign
They
a
have to
contract
have
with
something in
somebody
place in
else.
case they fail, right?
Correct.
They've got to
They
have,
gotta have a contract in place, so you can't scramble at the last minute after
Correct.
you fail to
Yeah.
find somebody.
You
You
have
have
to
to
have
have
something
something
in
in place
place.
already.
okay, so you've already got it, all our townships have an assessor.
I know,
No,
but they'd
that
have to have
person's
contract
failed.
with
They're
two.
out.
So when you lose your assessor, it's not just a pass-fail.
yeah, it is, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like the AMAR.
Yeah,
Say you don't pass.
so
the
if
AMAR,
the assessor doesn't pass, he's out.
No,
not necessarily.
a second party has to come in and reevaluate.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's like the AMARs, if you're
Got it.
familiar at all with
Okay.
AMARs, there's a
I didn't realize
14-point
that.
check, I wanna say, and they'll go through everything. and
So their
say,
assessor could still be in place.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could be.
but
I mean,
it's
you're
who's
not
gonna
looking
do the
good.
check though is the question.
Yeah.
But
whether
all we have
the
to do is
state-
just designate, like you're our designated assessor.
Right, but keep in mind, in Alcona, if the state says, this is where you failed, you need to have this done in a year. I'm like, we're gonna probably have to do some higher.
Well,
We might have to
you would have
contract with somebody.
You would have
Well,
to
we would
follow
have-
that when it happens.
Correct.
Right
So-
now, we just have to have a designated assessor in place, right?
And fees.
And
with the-
So-
Well, that the townships agree to.
Right, right.
That's
They
why
sign
I
off,
said
yeah.
in August,
Just want to.
I'm having to get together, which you're all gonna be welcome. I haven't set a date, and so are the supervisors. And we'll get together and Alpina's meeting with hers. I'll get a little more stuff on it. I'm just kind of bringing this, so you're not
Yeah.
like in the dark when it does happen, but it is that we do have to have one. So it's not like, let's just pass it. We have to have
Right.
it designated assessor.
So, just Troy now, everybody. Just let me talk to Troy. Okay. So, township fails its AMAR. Assessor is now on probation. We are the designated assessor. So we come into the township and say, we're your designated assessor. We're going to look at what the issue is, or we're going to hire somebody to look at what the issue is. Township says, okay, that we've got an agreement. That's what we have to do. Is that the gist of what this is?
Yeah, it's more or less like that. If they fail, we're going to do it, like I said.
An evaluation?
We're gonna be the overseer, basically, of it, but we can hire, like Dan to go do the field work to measure the buildings or whatever.
Right.
That's the fee, where we're gonna come up with the townships, but we're gonna oversee it.
So we'll be
Wherever
managing.
they fail, is what, more or less the state's gonna say, you fail, you have to use the designated assessor. This is the area that you're gonna have to correct. What's your plan of action? And I'm gonna say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Dan's gonna do the field work and we're gonna reassess.
So that could turn into quite a bit of work for you.
That's why we may have to contract
Right.
somebody.
So, but we still have to be the managing authority.
Correct.
So as part of our
Or
contract.
whoever we decide to be the designated assessor, like if
Yeah.
Aaron,
Or whoever, yeah. And if we hire a third party to come in and do the corrections and do all the nuts and bolts, we're still going to be, as a designated assessor, responsible and accountable for them getting that done.
if it's agreed upon with the township, if it's agreed upon. They could go their own route and get a designated assessor, but probably, in that regard, you're probably gonna have the townships, if you go in a contract, they're gonna have to pay probably upfront, like, pay somebody's.
So they could contact a third party assessing company and say, you be our designated assessor. How much will you charge us?
They would, pay them a retainer,
Right.
whereas we could offer a retainer for.
Yeah, right now, all we'd have to do is say,
Be reaction.
if there's a
Right.
problem, Troy or whoever is gonna be the designated assessor.
We would begin billing
we're gonna
if there's a
charge-
problem.
they're gonna
Otherwise,
sign a contract that our fee, if it ever does happen, is $150 an hour, whatever it is,
Correct.
and end the story. Because
Hopefully,
it might never happen, but
Right.
you gotta have it in place for the
Right.
state.
so we could,
End of
like,
story.
I think he puts it the best. We won't require a retainer or anything to
No.
keep you available to sign your name.
no, you don't.
But if work starts, then they gotta pay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's they're discussing a little bit the state gentleman that was at the last one, he's supposed to be getting us something that, so everybody's kind of on the same, like this
Page.
person isn't charging like $100 appraisal or something like that per parcel. They're supposed to, the state gentleman's supposed to get us.
They're gonna have some examples and some ideas.
So everybody's kind of in the same way.
Yeah, so then nobody's out gouging the townships if they fail.
Right. Has there ever been there's been a fail a couple times in this county.
Greenbush has failed.
Yeah. And so what was the process?
Everybody, I'm gonna say everybody has failed at one time, but you have to
But it's-
submit what your plan of action is to correct what you failed.
And it's not always matters of, that has to be assessed. Like one year we failed because we didn't have, shape data or something like that.
Or the poverty, if you don't have your poverty guidelines.
Oh,
Right.
I got you.
You know, then you could fail.
The only time an assessor would get involved if you messed up with assessing somewhere.
Right,
The other
Basically-
things the board can take care of, their board.
right, I mean, it's.
Under assessed or over
The only
assessed.
time probably when it's gonna get into cost much is doing the appraisal. If you have a complete reappraisal have to be done.
Mhm.
That's
Got
the
ya.
biggest part.
Yeah.
But hopefully, knock on wood, we don't have to come across that. We might have a new assessor, like I was telling him, that it's kind of, might have a new assessor in Guston. I'm not sure. I talked to the treasurer and it's like, she told me she's gonna resign and she hasn't resigned yet. So-
Guston or?
I mean Curtis.
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 It's like, you gotta do something. You
The
can't
other
wait till
Guston
November.
Township.
You can't wait till November to find the assessor. So I don't, she's gonna bring it up at her next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but otherwise, I think my assessors are staying put as of right now, which all of them are good.
So, I think we talked about this before. If they lose their assessor, and we're gonna probably structure this in a way that it's not gonna be cost effective for them to just say, well, we'll let the county do it now.
No.
I mean,
That's not what this is about.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, if they lose, if they don't have is it only if they fail?
Yes.
Or is it if they don't have if their assessor leaves and they say, we don't have an assessor?
No, it's still on them to find a new assessor.
Yeah.
It falls onto the supervisor.
They don't want us to step in.
No, we need to make
We
it
don't
so
wanna
they
step
don't.
in.
Yeah.
And
they-
neither does the MTA.
Right.
I mean, they don't want county equalization. There is counties that do
Right.
the assessing, but I'm sure in Elkhorn County and a lot of counties, the MTA doesn't want that.
Yep.
So, but,
Okay.
okay, that's
All right.
it.
Thank
So
you.
I'll
So
bring
you-
you up
by
to date
August?
again, huh?
By August, we should start
Meeting,
looking at,
and I'll invite all you, if you wanna come to.
send us some examples of
Yeah, like,
agreements and stuff like
yeah,
that.
It's
and
a
all the-
learning right now. We haven't
Yeah.
even got the fees from the state, so.
Right.
Sorry, I'm done stuff.
No other public comment? There's no other public left.
You got Scott up there.
Oh,
Craig, I'm
Scott?
here. Yeah.
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 I
You're
won't-
not public.
Well, that's why I was going to sneak in because I didn't get on the agenda.
Okay, go ahead.
I won't be as long or complicated as Troy because it looks like Steph wants to get going. I just saw the motion that you guys made last week supporting my office and my officers, and I wanted to thank Commissioner Vanook for doing that and everybody for supporting that. It's been a tough time for law enforcement lately, and quite honestly, we've been getting a lot of support from the community. I've been getting a lot of phone calls here, and I've been getting out in the public a little bit more lately now that COVID's calmed down, and basically everybody I'm running into is showing support for the office. So it's nice to get that from you guys. We don't ask for it and we don't anticipate it, but it was nice to hear. So thank you.
Well, thank you for hiring good officers, and thank you that we've never had that situation that I know of up here.
Well,
Thank you.
use of force is certainly an issue, and we review them very closely and keep pretty good documentation on them. But it's always something that's out there. It's use of force is certainly always been a liability issue for law enforcement. I think we're pretty well ahead of the curve. A lot of the recommendations that are being made are things that we're ahead of on. As is Alpena. We do a lot of training with them, and our departments are way ahead on those things. So I think some of the communities around here are doing pretty well in that regard, but there's always work to do.
Well, I was talking to Sue just real quickly, and I guess they passed the companion thing in the House about getting you guys the appropriate training or requiring that specialized training. She said she didn't get to talk to all sheriffs, but a lot of sheriffs wanted that.
Yeah, I don't see it as being prohibitive to us at all. It's a lot of that stuff is training that we're already doing. And the big thing is hopefully they'll come through with some appropriations to help us pay for that. A lot of that bill I saw was requiring it to be in the training for pre-service, which is the police academy. I went to police academy 20 years ago and all of that was already there. Maybe there's modifications in that could be made, but that was already all there.
All right.
Any other
Anything else,
questions
Scott?
on what I got going on? I don't have anything else. Anything from you guys?
Nope.
Okay. Doors are always open over here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, no, not all the doors. Make sure the jail doors are closed.
I think that goes without saying, Craig, but thanks.
Make sure Bailey doesn't get out.
She's getting rather bored with your meeting, so.
Don't blame her.
All right, thanks.
Popular guy here. Hi, Scott Rice. I see you up there. You're the last box left.
Good morning, everybody. How's
Morning.
everybody today?
Good.
Run volume's getting back to near normal with the pre-COVID-19.
Not the last.
We're averaging just a little over 3 runs a day.
Yeah, I told you.
With the COVID-19, our numbers have been the same for about the last 3.5 weeks. We have 18 confirmed cases with 1 death here in Alcona County. We're still continuing to get PPE in from the state and distribute it out to first responders and throughout the county. Couple things we're still waiting on is goggles for eye protection and disinfecting wipes. I think we're going to be one of the last counties to get all of those things because our numbers are so low. But we're doing a lot of testing with the health department and Alcona Health Center, and we're making progress in that realm. We do have the EMS millage that's coming up on the August primary. It's the 0.5 mils, and it's for vehicles and buildings and maintenance and procurement of future vehicles. And we'll be getting some yard signs out and the trifold flyers starting next week. That's all I have for you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Scott? Anybody? No? All right. I'm sorry, Scott, you were not the last square on Hollywood Squares.
Oh,
Beth?
okay.
Are you there, Beth? You are Beth, right?
No, hey, this is Julie Darton.
Way to
Beth
go.
is our office employee.
Well, I didn't
and
think you
she's
looked
also
like Beth,
on-
but Dan said you were.
Oh,
You
no,
kind
it's
of
okay.
look.
MSU
All right.
Extension can be known as Beth if that helps
Okay.
you. She's the face that you would see most regularly in the office. District coordinator or district director for MSU Extension District 4. I don't really have a report except that our staff continues to work remotely. I will mention that Les Thomas did do a book distribution on Monday, and he will plan some additional upcoming book distributions that coincide with the meal pickup for families at the schools. And we're really happy to continue to support literacy and reading in Alcona County through those programs. And we're just continuing to work hard to serve the community and the citizens of Michigan. Happy to answer any questions if folks have those, and if I can answer them or find answers for you.
Tell Les to
right.
get in contact with me if he wants to get on the pop-ups. No problem.
Thank you, sir. I will do that.
All righty. Thank you, Julie.
Yep. Thank
Or
you.
Beth, or whoever you are. That was great. Thank you. All right. And finally, Aaron, I see you came in.
Can I ask for clarification on something regarding
Is
this?
this a during meeting issue or an after meeting issue?
I don't know. You tell me.
Seems like an after meeting issue.
I can come after.
Okay.
We're gonna,
Don't leave.
no, we're gonna sit right here, but
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right. No other public comment. Commissioners, additional comments?
Sure.
So I'm looking at you.
I figured so much. I really struggled with the NEMSCA thing. I am struggling with this concept of taking care of people from cradle to grave. The biggest example I've seen in history is what happened with Grover Cleveland and the seed bill. And I guess the most prevalent thing that he had put down was Cleveland had said this would weaken the bonds of a common brotherhood for government to provide assistance to individuals where individuals, families, communities, and private charities other likewise do. So I just wanted to note that exception in the record, and I will let it go, and I cut it down for brevity's sake. Because I know Stephanie needs to get going.
Thank you. Any other commissioners' comments or additional comments, concerns? If not, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. All right.